creating a new wall with the old oak beams. So um, quite early on in the job, I took down the wall that was dividing the main living area with what was the guy's bedroom, and obviously I was never going to be throwing those beautiful oak posts away. So it's a question of finding a new use for them. And the use here is to create a new cob wall, the height at the top end of the kitchen, separating the bedrooms and the kitchen. First of all, because nothing is plumb or level in the house, it was a question of just putting in just a small joist just to set it level. And I had to do this because the posts weren't quite tall enough to reach the purlin, and I was keen that they would touch the purlin just to give it a bit of additional support. So it was a question of putting in. I didn't have sufficient oak to create the beam on the bottom, but that will get covered over on one side of the bedroom. It'll be the skirting board, and on the other side, I'll cut some oak down and I'll just make a false facade to cover it, so you won't see that. So this is the put the posts in. The purlin, like everything else in the house, doesn't run square either to the house. It comes across at an angle, which means that the posts on the left hand side were set on this side of the purlin, and the posts on the right hand side were set the other side of the purlin. And then after that, it was a question of putting some lath in place. And what I've used is the old battens from the roof that came off. It's a 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, however you're going to do it. But I just find it's fairly easy to cut down this lath. What you do is you cut slightly larger than the opening, because there's a slight recess in the center of each of these uprights, and then you just fit them into place. Sometimes it works exact, sometimes you have to play around a little bit, sometimes you have to tap it with a hammer, whatever you need to do just to get it in place. And then with that, then once you start putting the cob in place, it'll bond to either side of the lath, and that will then create a nice looking cob wall. In the shower area, which is the nearest left hand side there, you aren't going to see that. You're going to at all. That will be invariably, that's going to be plasterboarded and tiled. But on the kitchen side, you'll have a really nice looking cob wall up high, either side of the kitchen. And also, it just means because you've got this additional height in the kitchen area, you can put some fabulous sort of lighting in there, sort of cathedral style lighting, because you've got tons of height. And I'm thinking of leaving the ceiling in the downstairs toilet area the same height as well, so it'll be sort of a vaulted height as well. I just think that might work quite well, give you a feeling a bit more space in there. So here I am merrily cutting the batten. So what I've done, I'd already removed 99% of the batten and put it into the barn, and then I had to nip back to the barn and recuperate the lath or the batten and bring it up into loft area, and then just rip it down as it was needed. The central post that was the only post there at the time holding that purlin in place. Again, you won't see that post because the way it's been put in. You'll see it from the kitchen side, but you wouldn't see it at all from the bedroom side. So you'll only see the posts. You'll see all the posts from the kitchen side with the new walling, and in the bedroom side, so the third bedroom, which I'm effectively working in here, you will have this nice cob wall up against the opposite side, where we're going to have the window going in there with the Juliet balcony. And then it's a question of tarting up the wall, which is a mixture of flint, stone, and all sorts that they've sort of put in when they've created a larger rear space, and they've increased the size of the A-frame. And so then what they've done is it looks like the original wall was more a mixture of stone and soil and stuff. With this one, it looks like it's more they've put stone in and they've used sand and cement to sort of bond it together. There is sort of a line running diagonally. You can sort of see where the two surfaces are different, slightly different coloured. And that's obviously where they've added on the new part of the roof. So it's a question of doing something that will remain sympathetic. I'm not a massive fan of seeing natural stone in walls and that. It can look quite nice, but it also can look quite sort of cold as well. So I need to have a little bit of a think on what I'm going to do there. I might just sort of cover that in a lime plaster, which possibly would work a wee bit better. But if it was all one, if the whole wall was all stone, all flint, then maybe I would look to repoint it all. But I don't think it's worth the hassle of trying to do that when you've got a mixture of the two materials and it's not particularly level. And to me, it looks a bit naff, really, like that. So it probably will have to be covered, and it'll just be covered in something that's going to suit the look of the room or the look of the rooms. So using the batten, I could have. There's a fair amount of the old batten, which is slightly thicker, which came out from the floor and also came out from the walls. Could have used that, but I just thought that this batten is possibly going to be slightly easier to play around with, and it's going to do effectively the same job because it's wedged in between the posts. So once your cob's in position, it shouldn't, in theory, it shouldn't be moving anywhere, and it's only going to dry out as the years go on. I mean, not all this stuff, anyways, would bone dry anyway. The batten that came off, even the batten that had been soaked for donkey's years with the rain, where the roof had deteriorated. Surprising, once you move that to a dry area, it dries out that practically straight away, and then it's bone dry. So I don't feel there's any problem at all. There's no sort of woodworm damage to that or any other problems. And then there's no particular. I don't think there's any particular way of putting them in place. I mean, normally I'm just putting them in horizontally because obviously they're going up against uprights, which are vertical. But there's some of them run at bits of angles. So I really don't think it makes a great deal of difference either way. I'm presuming that nobody's going to take a running leap at these. The only downside to that is the batten is obviously not particularly strong. So if somebody was decided they're going to try and run through the wall for whatever reason, do a Hulk type thing, I'd imagine it would hold initially and then possibly it would give. So I would be encouraging any guests that arrive not to want to run through my walls. I wouldn't imagine they'd want to do that anyway. So it's nice to reuse everything that can be reusable. I have seen various people on various Renault sites that just everything goes down the déchetterie, and it's such a waste. I mean, who would want to chuck away beautiful old oak posts like that? Certainly not me. So it's great that they get a second life. They've got decades of life left in them anyway. You know, even though they've been sort of attacked by woodworm and all the rest of it, they're still solid, absolutely solid. When you cut through them, you find there's the outer section has had some sort of infestation, but other than that, the inside is absolutely rock solid. It's like a lump of concrete. So it's such a waste when just houses get emptied, everything gets taken down the tip, and then it's all new stuff that goes in because these houses are certainly around about 150 years old. You know, they should show some of the character of the house. I know we all want all mod cons these days and everything that works well, and some people like minimalist living, but you know, I think it's such a pity when everything gets covered over and everything's just plasterboarded and you don't see the actual structure of the house. You could be in a modern build house. You wouldn't know if you blindfolded someone and took them in there and took the blindfold off. You wouldn't be able to say, "Oh yeah, this is a very old house that I'm standing in." And I think that's a great pity. So I'm looking to, and particularly, it's a small village. It apparently means a lot to a lot of people, this house, because, like I said, they've got the guy that lives not too far away, whose grandmother was brought up in this house, and everybody knows it well, and lots of people know the history of the house and the history of the town. It's a very, very close-knit community, so I don't want to turn it into some horrible 21st century plasterboarded non-entity. The idea is that it's going to have a certain amount of charm. I try and work with whatever I can work with. And obviously, the formation of the bedrooms will be metal rail and plasterboard. You've got a minor issue with the fact that obviously the floor is also cob, and I'm going to have to put some base rails down initially, so that you're not getting bounce on when you're walking in the rooms. It's not going to be affecting the walls, because there's a tiny amount of bounce when you walk across these rooms. It's not like you're on a trampoline, but you can sense that it gives ever so slightly. And obviously, if you're going to be putting partitions and things in, you want them to be absolutely firm and moving, not at all. So there will be a tiny bit of work involved in that, and that's what I'll be working on fairly shortly. The partitions, which would be nice, because it's like with this wall here, you can see, that's the sort of the end of bedroom 3. That's the end of the shower room, and it's quite nice. You start to get the formation. Though for a lot of people, it's quite difficult to imagine how the rooms will look at the end of it. So it's good that you can see bit by bit the formation of these things. And also, like I say, with this, you've got a little bit of character there. You can have some nice oak beams showing, beautifully treated with linseed oil and stuff. And then you'll have the bits in between, the cob in between, which will have like a lime wash or whatever painted onto them to give it a really nice contrast, and just creates a bit of a feature in the rooms. So what else to say on this? It's been very, very hot, and we're in towards the end of June 2025, and it's been baking hot for weeks now. We're well into the 30s, and there's more to come apparently. So it's quite nice to be indoors. I would imagine it'd be a lot of fun working on the roof at this stage. The tiles are red hot as you're trying to get across them. So it's good that, and they're all big, because it's been so dry. Any last bits of moss and stuff that were on the tiles, that's now sort of disintegrated, so that it's looking superb, the roof. I'm really, really pleased with it, and let's see if we can't do a similar sort of thing on the interior and really give it the oomph, charm to the house. What else to say on this? It will need to also be thinking about running electrics and stuff through, and connecting I'll have to send the soil pipe, which is obviously getting rid of the water from the toilet and the shower area. That's going to go probably below the floor there and run out in between the ceiling joists, and I'll cover that up and I'll insulate it so that you won't get the noise when you flush the loo or run the shower. There's no way the thickness of the floor there isn't sufficient to run it at the level, so it's better just to drop it and run it out, and it'll run in. The evacuation of the water is directly, if you look at where the window is there, it's directly below that area there, and that then runs out to the main sewer. So in theory, that should work quite well as well, and that means you've not got too much pipe work sitting in the bathroom area visible. So coming to the end of this video, this is showing you this new partition that I put in with the lathe, and a quick explanation. I hope you found it enjoyable. There's a little bit more to come working in this loft area. Got a few other bits and pieces to do. So I hope you'll continue to watch and continue to subscribe, and all your comments, everything else are much appreciated, and I'll see you on the next video.